Real Gospel with Real Harmony and Real Grooves. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to one of the most exciting gospel shows that speaks to your life. I'm Simone Malone. Hope you guys are feeling good about your life, and for those of you that can see the video as well, thank you so much for clicking on to Facebook and also my YouTube channel called Trusted Voice in Radio, and there you can go back and watch hundreds of inspirational moments and exclusive interviews. Well, today I'm going to travel down to Tampa, Florida. I wanted to reach out to this fine pastor that's making a difference. He's very fashionable, too. You guys got to go to his page and see all the great work that he's doing. But I just want to say hello first to my friend, my dear brother. Thank you so much for following me and what we're doing as well up in Philadelphia. Pastor Rick, say hello to everybody. Go ahead.
Good morning to everyone and to you, the Feel Good Man. How are you this morning?
I'm feeling good. How's Tampa treating you this morning?
Tampa's treating me well. That's why I continue to stay here.
That's a wonderful thing. I haven't been in Tampa in quite some time, but I'm going to have to come on down to Tampa and do a live broadcast from your church in your neck of the woods. What do you think about that?
Come on down. Come on down.
That's good. Pastor Rick, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your ministry. Tell everybody a little bit about who in the world is Pastor Rick, a former TV personality and things of that nature, and into fashion and just a great man of God. I get a chance to sometimes scroll on my news feed and see your wonderful teaching messages on Sunday morning. So go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Well, essentially, my name is Rick Rollins. Actually, if we did my whole name, we'd take a long time because it's a rather long name, being of Latin and descent. We have long names. My father is Puerto Rican, my mother is Cuban and Native American,
wow.
and there's a meshing of going on. So my full name would be, we're not going to tell you what the J stands for, but it's Ricardo Dimitri Raines Rollins II.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
I'm God's child first and foremost, but I'm Allie and Jesse's son, the only child. I was fortunate that my parents adopted me. My mother was a teenage mother who didn't really know what to do with me. She had another child who was special needs.
Okay.
And so here I come along as a twin. My twin didn't make it. I'm delivered at 5 months, so I'm a preemie. And at 2 months, she really didn't know what to do with me. So she was telling someone that she was going to put me somewhere where someone would find me, but that she couldn't do it. And my mother walked up and said, "You don't have to do that. If you don't want him or you can't take care of him, I will." And the rest is history. So I say that to say that from day one, God has had his hands on me. He intended for me to come to the planet. My parents couldn't have children, so he used Dolores and Ricardo as surrogates so that Jesse and Allie would have a child. And so out of that, I've always known that I was put on the planet to do something. That something has always been to empower God's people to believe that tomorrow is better if today isn't bitter.
Wow, I like that. So how are you empowering the people in your ministry? Tell everybody the name of your ministry. Go ahead.
One of the things that the church is called the Edge Community Church here in Tampa, Florida, and the Edge stands for Everyday God Experience. And my job is to love them to the edge and back. To move them from religion to relationship and give them the opportunity to have just that, an intimate spiritual relationship with God, realizing that he does not make mistakes, because someone would have called me a mistake. Someone would have said I was an accident. I was conceived in a cemetery. Okay. My mother was a teenage mother, well, she was already a teenage mother, and my father was a young military man, and I don't think he knows that I exist to this day. I just simply have his first name. It's my middle name. And so in that, I've always believed that we all have purpose. We were put here for purpose. So that is what we do at the Edge. We introduce people to their purpose. We nurture them in that purpose. We teach a relevant message. We're a non-denominational ministry on purpose. We are inclusive and welcoming of all people, gay, straight, black, white, Latina, you name it. If you got polka dots and stripes, we'll take it anyway. It's a fashion statement on your life. But so that's what this ministry was created for 16 years ago, when the Lord allowed me to write my first book, which was called Like Breathing. When I wrote Like Breathing, my prayer the entire time was, let it be empowerment, not entertainment. Okay. Now, of course, there are entertaining moments in it, but when I wrote that first book, I started getting these speaking engagements, and I would go, and God showed me a specific group of people and said that you need to minister to them, and that you need to let them know that I love them too. And so that's why we became an inclusive ministry. That meant that everybody was welcome without judgment. Now, some would say that every church is like that. We know that's not true.
Right.
You know, sometimes just church folks, it's what Gandhi said. If I'd met the Christ first, I probably would have been a Christian, but I met his people.
Right.
So in turn, you know, sometimes church folks, we get it wrong. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I know is that when we created this ministry, it was so that God's people, that all of God's people mm-hmm. would have a place, a haven. I don't like that whole hospital term,
right.
but have a haven to grow and to be all that they were called according to purpose. The Bible says that we were all called according to purpose. Right. And I want people to have that opportunity to live fully in that purpose, to be all that they can be. Yeah. That no matter where you've come from, God still has somewhere he intends you to go. Jeremiah 29:11. Mm-hmm. I have a plan for you. Mm-hmm. That plan is to prosper you. The reason some of us never get to the prospering part of it is because we have been propositioned by the enemy to say that this is better than that. Right. And oftentimes we've even propositioned by the enemy who has conspired with the enemy mm-hmm. and said that you were not called according to this. But I tell you today, it's like Stephen Furtick's book. It's the title of Stephen Furtick's book. We have to crash the chatterbox. Mm-hmm. We have to stop all that white noise within ourselves and realize that when we were put on this planet, there was a greater purpose for us and that there are people waiting for us. Every one of us mm-hmm. has somebody else waiting for us.
That's right.
To help nurture them, to grow them, to show them.
Awesome. Pastor Rick, talk a little bit about your book and how people can purchase the book. It sounds like it's very exciting. Go ahead.
The books are available. It's actually more than one.
Okay.
We are on book 3. Well, there are 4 books out currently that you can get. There's Like Breathing, Breathe Again, and Bated Breath are all fiction. They're all novels, but there's an impactful message to them.
Sure.
And the newest book is called Random, 30 Thoughts While Thinking Out Loud. Mm-hmm. And collecting my thoughts. And so what we've done with that one is that we took some of the quotes that we had on Facebook that people really liked, mm-hmm. put them in a book so that people would have something to meditate on every day, mm-hmm. something to feed themselves with. And this is what I'm going to do this morning. You and I did not discuss this. For the first 10 people, the first 10 people that send you their name, their address, and their contact information, awesome. I'm going to send them a copy of Random free.
Okay, y'all heard that. So the first 10 people, you need to contact me.
That.
Okay.
And like I said, you can go to Rick Rollins Media at rickrollinsmedia.com to order the books as well.
Good.
Or inbox me on Facebook. You know, you can find me at J. Rick Rollins II and at Rick Rollins, because there are 2 Facebook pages. Yeah,
wonderful.
One page wasn't enough.
You're right about that. Let me just congratulate you for all that you're doing and dressing so well and just representing yourself. As I was watching I was on your page and I was watching the series you're talking about. Can you mention that series? I think
it's time to move your needle. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that title.
Please,
Go ahead.
Some of us have been coasting on fumes for far too long, hoping that we get to the next exit. And what we've done often is that we've not filled ourselves with proper things. You know, you cannot put water in a gas tank.
Right.
It's going to kill your car.
Right.
But even with us, we don't fill ourselves. We listen to, and I have nothing against reality show. I have my favorite shows. Mm-hmm. I have nothing against television. I have my favorite shows, you know, and all of that. But there's got to be something else that you put in your heart, your mind, your soul, and your spirit that fuels you to move. And some of us have not moved our needle in the well. The needle is stuck. You keep hitting on the screen thinking that it's going to change, but because we're searching for something that is not filling. Mm-hmm. You know, you can eat junk food all day long, and while it may do one thing, it's not going to fill you.
That's right.
To its greatest capacity. So that's what we've been talking about, that in order for you to move your needle, first and foremost, you have to get clear. Mm. In order for you to get clear, you have to get quiet. Mm-hmm. Because as I said earlier, there's so much white noise. We're hearing what Mama said, what Cousin Peaches said, what Big Mama and Medea said. I was sharing with somebody the other day that one of the things that I had to overcome, and it almost ruined the relationship I had with my father, it was this, that my grandmother said to me, one day they're going to come to their senses and give you back. Mm. Now, if you can imagine at 7 years old, I'm hearing this. And what was ironic is that I had just learned maybe 6 to 8 months prior that I was adopted. Mm. Okay? So when somebody says that to you, you are sitting there going, oh, my God. So I've got to live this life. And I believe that when the Scripture says all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord, called according to purpose, it's true, because If she hadn't said that, I probably would have settled for mediocrity. Right. And I couldn't do that in my life. Simone, I had to. I found myself being a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. I found myself in delving into things that some people won't delve into, as far as being creative enough and courageous enough to say, I'm going to try that. Right. I'm not talking about bad things. I'm talking about things that normally people would not try, especially Afrocentrically or even from the Latina, the Hispanic community. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't try those things. So that was me. I ran for president, student council president every year, did not win, but it did not matter, because it's still, that was the guy that you should have voted for.
Sure.
Here's my thing. All of that, based on that one statement, had to fuel my needle.
Wow.
I mean, it had to move my needle. It had to fuel me, because if it had not, I probably would have just been this kid who did well in school. Mm-hmm. I mean, I came along in the generation when black folks were just supposed to be seen and not heard. And so my father was very careful. Mm-hmm. But I was in college. I was taking college level classes in first grade.
Wow.
But he still maintained a humanity or an humbleness about that, because, he didn't make a big deal of it. He let it seem like it was a part of my normal life. He and my mother allowed that, and so first through eighth grade, I was doing college classes. Mm-hmm. And so when I got to Morehouse, I was conditioned, but because it was just the three of us, it was a hard time for me in transitioning. Sure. My whole thing is that we still have to remember that no matter what seems like failure does not have to be. When I came home from Morehouse after 2 years of matriculating there, I came home because I was sick, because other things had happened to me. That's a whole nother show that we could talk about on another day. But the bottom line was that I still knew that I was destined for something. Mm-hmm. There's something that's nagging at your listeners today, at your viewers today. There's something that's nagging at them that says that this is not it for us.
Right.
It's time for them to move their needle. It's time for them not to only get clear. It's not only for them to get quiet, but then it's time for them to make the next move.
I like that.
It's time for them to get ready.
Yes.
It's time to get ready in the season. If we're not ready, if we're not positioned, if we have not found our way into saying, okay, I know there's more, mm-hmm. there will be more, mm-hmm. I'm doing more, then we never will. We will stay stuck. And I often say to the people that it's a shame that stuck becomes our road dog, because we get stuck with stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, we love stupid, we do stupid, so therefore we become just a little bit stupid in what we do, because we refuse to move the needle. Yeah. We're sitting on the side of the road. We're waiting for road recovery. In Tampa, we have these people called road warriors. We're waiting for the road warrior. Oftentimes, they're our sisters and some of our brothers. We're waiting for Prince Charming or the Queen to come along, or the princess to come along and rescue us in this season. And this is not a season for that to happen. Mm-hmm. This is a season for us to grow and to be and to do. But how can we do that if we won't push ourselves, we won't fuel ourselves in this season?
I like that.
My mother's 90 years old as of July, and she's had several incidents where things have happened, but she still comes back every single time. She could have just said, okay, this is going to be my lot in life. But my mother, when she meets her physical therapist, when she meets her occupational therapist, she gets up and she does the work. Even if she's not feeling that that day, she doesn't have the energy, or she didn't sleep well because of her condition. She still does. She never sends them away. She never shuns them. She never gives 10%. She gives 100%.
I know that.
And even when she's gone, she asks me, can we go through our exercises? Can you help me? Because I've got to be better than this.
I know
that's what moving your needle is. Being better than this. Being better.
Yeah.
Getting better.
Yeah.
Doing better, because you know better. We already know better.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we put that on the back burner and we sit back. I was telling you the other day, we talked about the store. One of my jobs is as a stylist, to make sure that my clients look well.
I know that's right.
Not good, but they look well. I don't want you to just look good. I want you to look healthy and whole and happy. And somebody asked me one day, they said, don't you mean look good? I said, no. to look good, I can camouflage a multitude of things. But when I look well, that means that the whole picture has come together. That hair is going to be coiffed. That face is going to be beat. If necessary, we're going to put the Spanx or the Manx on.
Wow.
And you're going to, but at the same time, when you look in the mirror, I purposely tell them to come in comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we dress them because I want them to see I want them to have their own before and after moments.
Yeah. I like that.
And so that's why I do this. I mean, I know that it's a part of, and never let a talk show host talk. So I'm going to hush, but let me just say this one last.
Sure,
I
go
know
ahead.
that everything that I've done in my life, whether it was the author, being the author, the writer, the journalist, the talk show host, the media personality, the pastor, but the son, the father, any of that, I know that it's all God-given and God-appointed.
Yeah.
The problem is that we are so disappointed that it didn't happen yet. But it didn't happen yet, and it can't happen yet if we're not willing to move the needle. An empty car can only sit.
Yeah.
It may start, but it's not going to go far.
Right.
And some of us are going along knowing that the needle says that we're on empty, but you know that there's a reserve. But I've got news for you. Some of us have already used the reserve up.
I love it. Folks, you're not moving the needle in a bad way. Some folks are using the needle in the bad way, but we want you to move the needle the right way. I love what you just said.
What? And look at that. When you bring up an interesting point, some of us are moving it in the right way, but not in the right direction.
I love that. Pastor
We're
Rick,
going places.
Yeah.
But we're not going to place. We're going to work every day when we're supposed to be entrepreneurs. We're going to work as the subordinate instead of the boss.
I love it.
And we got to, we're sitting back waiting for a Moses burning bush moment. God says, I've done that. I don't do repeats. I don't do command. They're rebooting Will and Grace and all these other shows. See, God says, I don't do the reboot. He says, I do a new thing.
Yeah.
And so some of us are waiting for something that we saw that happened to someone else. Some of us are using Big Mama's tongue in her shout. But we don't have our own because we don't have a relationship. We haven't moved the needle from religion to relationship.
Yeah.
We're coasting on what we heard instead of what we know. When we begin to know him in an interpersonal way, the needle moves, and guess what? We'll go from empty to full.
Yeah, I like that.
In one stop.
Wonderful. Go ahead. Absolutely. Go ahead, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm glad that the Spirit told me to have you on because you shared some really key things about moving the needle. Give your social media information so people can follow you. They can also purchase these books, and they need to move the needle right now. So go ahead, Pastor.
Okay, so you can find us at Rick Rollins on Facebook or J. Rick Rollins, and that's RICC. Let's remember it's 2 C's, no K. You can find me on Instagram at Rick Rollins. But I tend to hang out at the Style Lab at AT5508 a lot more. The store is called the Style Lab at 5508, which is a wonderful entrepreneurial compound and complex with over 46 African-American entrepreneurs who own businesses there. You can find me at www.thestylelab, the word AT5508.com. And if you can't find me, you can call Simone, and he'll tell you how to get in touch with me in case you didn't have a chance to write this all down.
Sound good. What do you want to say as your final word, and what word, real quick, that you can share to the pastors to encourage them?
I need pastors to move their needle beyond tradition.
Yeah.
I need them to move it beyond what they thought and allow God to speak to them in this season. So what they know, they'll know. Not what they've heard, not what they've learned through or heard regurgitated. Ask God to do a new thing in your ministry. It's time for that needle to move beyond where it is. It is not about having another person fill another seat. It's about moving beyond the walls. You really want to move your needle? Move beyond the walls and begin to reach out to people who will never come to church because they never thought that the church would love, receive, accept, or want them.
Good word.
That's it.
Okay, so I got a question. Am I moving?
Yes,
in your opinion, am I moving the needle?
Look, your needle is moved in the other. It's got stuck in the other direction. because you're doing a lot. But you move the needle every day when you get up and you inspire yourself. First, when you encourage yourself, like David said,
that's right.
And then you begin to inspire all of us. You have not only moved the needle, you've taken some of us along the way with you on the journey.
Thank you so much, Pastor Rick. We really appreciate you, man. I hope to make it to Tampa. I'll be in Atlanta at the end of the month. I wish the plane could just come on after it leaves there, go right on to Tampa to come and fellowship with you, because when I do come to Tampa, I'm going to broadcast live right from your neck of the woods. Isn't that amazing?
Okay. We look forward to that.
All right, so have a great day, man. We appreciate you, okay?
Thank you again.
Okay. Bless you real good.
I understand why they call you the feel-good man now.
All right, I got you. Thank you, Doc. Have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.